In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on October the 19th, 2018, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel, Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Plummer?
Here.
All members are present.
Okay. Would someone like to approve the minutes from October 9, 2018, the regular minutes and the closed session from both A and B?
Motion approved.
Second. All right. Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right. Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and committee members. Just one thing this evening. It's a follow-up from our last committee meeting. Committeeman Coggins had requested that we look into somehow including information on brush pickup and compost pickup, things of those sort that our Public Works Department does on a daily basis, and placing it on our website. With the assistance of Paul, Paul and actually Terry over at Public Works, we now have an event on our events calendar and main page of our website, uppertownship.com. You'll be able to see on a daily basis as we're working through these different areas, where we've been, where we're going next, and as far as brush and leaf and those type of collections are concerned. In addition to some of the other projects that Public Works is working on. So right now it is part of the events calendar. I think what I'd like to do is maybe have it actually as a separate calendar under Public Works, so everything's all in one place, so that when the individual users look at the site and they click on Public Works, they'll see that. They'll also see the trouble reporter. So everything's all in one particular area. They can see all the information. In addition to the resolution itself, as far as our collection processes, and how they're mandated and whatnot for all of our residents. All that information.
Well, the other thing I would ask is if you could somehow just put leaf and brush pickup to click on, and that bring it to the Public Works thing, because I think people have a tendency to look for a quick shortcut. Yeah, to get to where they need to go. Exactly. So if we can do that, that would really be a help.
Okay.
That's terrific.
That's all I have tonight.
Thank you.
Great. Barbara.
Just one little thing, just reminding everyone that trick-or-treating will be on October 31st from 5 to 8 p.m. And that's all I have. Thank you.
It's great.
Nothing at this time. We do have some handful of closed session items.
Okay. Paul.
Thank you. I just wanted to, AT&T, they're have antennas on our Public Works cell tower. And they are looking to replace some of the antennas on that tower. And in accordance with their lease, they have to provide technical documents of showing us what they're going to do, as well as a structural analysis. I've reviewed all of those documents and feel everything is acceptable and formidable, but so I just want to report to committee and that they were going to be replacing those antennas. There's no formal requirement in the lease process where you have to do a resolution, but we thought it was appropriate just that it was acknowledged here this evening.
Will it improve the coverage in the Seaboard area?
Yes, it's just part of AT&T's upgrade of their cellular network to upgrade their antenna styles to provide more, to keep up with the technology of the antennas.
I know, like in the Seaboard, I personally don't have AT&T, but there's a lot of my customers have AT&T, and they say the service is horrible.
I can only imagine it's just part of their service upgrade in this area, but this is for the cell tower at our Public Works yard in Tuckahoe, so it may not help the residents in Seville. That's probably a different tower, but it should help the residents in the Tuckahoe, Petersburg, Corbin City area. The only thing else I wanted to report was out on the beach in Strathmere this morning again. The erosion is continuing to get worse. I met with several contractors about doing some backpassing after discussion with Scott and Public Works about the Public Works doing it. We looked at the magnitude of the work and we're getting some price quotes to have an outside vendor give us some pricing to do the work as opposed to Public Works doing it. So I hope to have those. I have one of the price quotes actually already. As soon as I get a sufficient price quotes, I'll get together with to Barb and report back to committee on what we're going to do and how we're going to possibly fund it.
But wasn't there also this, have we gotten any approval to move sand from some of the streets where we have additional sand?
That's what I'm talking about. So yes, we do have that approval, yes.
All right, so we have a potential impending nor'easter that they're watching,
Yes.
and we don't want to have further erosion up there. Would we move sand to try and shore up that north end a little bit before?
I do not believe that we'd be able to have the procurement process completed before then unless it was declared an emergency and we did it in that vein.
I mean, we don't even know if it's going to occur, but they're starting to, and you're getting some stuff, right?
Correct.
So, all right, well, we'll need to do at least some prep work over in Strathmere for that, at least what's supposed to be Saturday into Sunday or something, right?
Yeah, correct.
So,
And I did have a further discussion with the Department of Environmental Protection Bureau of Coastal Engineering regarding the southern end of Ocean City is on their renourishment cycle for next year, about this time next year, and that they are still anticipating or having the conversations about adding, I'll say that northern end and the inlet in as part of that project to do the Strathmere side.
Are they going to dredge from the channel?
Yes.
So either way, it's probably a win.
Either way, it's going to be a win, but I mean, at this point, we need, there is no dry beach, I'm going to say, from the natural area through Seaview down to Seacliff at this point.
well, by that time, it'll be almost 5 years anyway, right? Because Sandy, when was Sandy?
Our 5 years will be in 2021.
2021?
That's all I had this evening.
All right, well, let's stay on top of that, because if we don't have any staging fees, that would be a big asset to try and get some extra sand if we need it. Barbara?
I have nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Committeeman Coggins,
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Committeeman Young.
Just one or two things real quick. Baseball has made a request that we get Wi-Fi ran out to the baseball complex at Amanda's Field. They would like to put security cameras up and also secure locking mechanisms all done by Wi-Fi. I think from what I can see, they're willing to put the cost for the security cameras and everything if we can run them Wi-Fi. So it's something I think we need to look at, especially with the vandalism we've had at Codwell. If it continues over here,
We can look into that.
something we can take a look at.
Absolutely.
I believe soccer, and everybody would talk about that too, so.
Yeah, so I think we can go hand in
Cover all
hand with
the
everybody
bases.
out there, really.
Part of the park.
I think it would be just beneficial. We have had a continuing problem out there with a few guys on quads again. I know Chris Chisholm called the state police, which I asked her to do each time she sees them. Is running across the fields, top speed, that kind of thing, and the kids are on the field while they're doing it. So the only thing I can do is tell her to keep calling the state police as soon as she sees them come in. I want to make everybody aware that we're having a problem out there with that. And the only other thing again is to update on our Pumpkin Classic Fall Fest. We're moving forward with everything, and Barb's office, Barb and all the clerks in there have done a great job putting this together. We're going to be on the radio, I think, for 60 spots over the next 2 weeks. All of our signage just got done by MC Signs. And we're moving right along with it. We've got good response with cars. Our vendors, I think, are down a little bit this year. So we just re-noticed all of our vendors. So if we could get some coverage on that too, saying we're looking for craft vendors and regular vendors, not so much food vendors. We're already about 20 food vendors, we're going to cut that off. But the volunteers to help us park the cars and maybe run the shuttles with the golf carts to take care of handicapped people or, senior citizens that need a little bit of help would be greatly appreciated. That's it.
Great, thank you. Deputy Mayor Barr.
How do we determine when we start leaf collection?
I think the dates have already been set for mid-November through mid-December.
Okay. So they're already posted? Already posted. All right, that's all I have. Just one question.
Committeeman Corson.
Thank you. Just, our trunk or treat is tomorrow night. The rescue squad puts that on at Manus Field from 6 to 8. Everybody's welcome. And good times to be had by all. Other than that, I think that's all I have this time.
Okay.
Just make everybody aware, on Facebook tonight, I did see, this evening, that there's been a couple breaking in car burglaries on Evergreen Stagecoach. So just please, everybody be aware of your surroundings, observant, lock your cars, take valuables out. Hopefully it's an isolated incident, but who knows?
So I only have a couple of things. One, I want to thank our staff for putting together the health fair on October 18th. It was a big success. This year they had 120 flu shots that residents were able to obtain there, myself included, and my wife. And compared to last year, we had only 85. So I think people are becoming more cognizant this is supposed to be a very bad flu year. And I'd suggest if anyone hasn't gotten the flu vax, now's the time to get it. It's already starting to show its ugly head in some of the states on the eastern seaboard and also down the south. So they're anticipating a very bad year. So I'd suggest anyone that has an opportunity to get one, please make sure you get one. The other thing is we've had some meetings. There's been some things in the media about Beale England. I don't want to get into details. We've had meetings with them. We had a great meeting with Ørsted, which is the wind-producing farm folks for generating electricity last week, and we have some continued meetings that are scheduled. So I'll just say that there's some optimistic things and opportunities that are out there, and we just hope that our continued talks will be fruitful, and we'll move forward with that. So that's all I have to say about that. So let's move on with the agenda.
Item number 1, amending resolution number 232, 2018, certification of costs for abatement of nuisance on block 597, lot 43.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Authorizing the award of a contract with Value Auto Parts LLC for automotive parts and repairs.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Authorizing the execution of a subcontract with the County of Cape May for the state fiscal year 2020 Municipal Alliance Program.
Move the resolution? Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Authorizing the participation in the Ocean City Cooperative Pricing System for city contract number 18-44 emergency debris removal services.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 5, tax refund, block 599, lot 16, qualification CO75.
Move to approve?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 13, and ordinance authorizing the sale of lands with block 735, lot 21.02.
Before I open it up to public hearing, is there any final questioning by the committee or Paul or anybody?
Is this you, Snow?
Excuse me?
Are one of these the
No,
Oceanala?
this is the one on Harbor Road.
Okay, and the other one's the Oceanala?
The Route 50.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll open it up to the public. Would anyone like to address the Township Committee with respect to the ordinance 13, 2018? Okay, doesn't appear that there's any public comment, so I'll close the public portion of the hearing and entertain a motion for adoption.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 16, 2018, an ordinance authorizing the sale of lands to wit block 453.10, lot 378, and the public hearing, if you move with this, would be November 19th.
Okay,
I have to abstain from this, Mr. Mayor, I have a conflict.
all right, would someone like to make a motion to introduce the ordinance?
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson? Abstain?
Abstain?
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried, 4 in favor and 1 abstention. Item number 8, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 17, 2018, an ordinance amending revised general ordinance, Chapter 7 of the Code of Upper Township.
This ordinance is for one-way streets. We do have a resolution from the county with respect to County Route 664 authorizing it because one of them is a county route. You had directed this some time ago. We were waiting for county approval.
And once again, if you move on this, that would be the public hearing November 19th.
Move we introduce ordinance number 17, 2018, to the public hearing November 19th. Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, under new business, John and Sarah Lee request to vacate a portion of Bergen Avenue adjacent to Block 507, lots 1 through 10.
Questions?
Well, I think the last time we had this, we tabled it because both of the parties were not in agreement.
This is a different.
Oh, this is a different one.
This is on Bergen Avenue. That's in Mistletoe. I believe that
Gotcha.
is later on in the agenda.
Yeah, 15 is the one you're talking, John, the item 15.
Sorry, thank you.
Paul, do you see any problems?
I think I'm going to table this because I think, or at least delay it to the next meeting. And I was looking at this earlier, but when I looked at it, I thought it was on the block previous. I have to double check the other street, or the other side of the street to see where their driveway access goes. I think they might share that area, so I have to double check.
So it needs further review.
So it needs further review, yeah.
So we should
We can
table
table
it.
it, so
Yeah.
just continue it to the next meeting.
Motion to table.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes, and we'll move that to unfinished business for the next meeting.
All right, item number 10, Ralph and Dolores Clayton request to donate Block 736, Lot 17 to the Township of Upper.
This is another land parcel. I suspect that if they haven't stopped paying taxes, they shortly will stop paying taxes. Our ordinance allows the donations. However, we want to check to make sure there isn't any physical condition problem, environmental condition problem with the property, and also a title search. Ordinarily, and under the ordinance, generally, we ask the owner to do the title search, but we would have to do the title search anyway because of a tax lien foreclosure if we were to proceed. So I would suggest that we do it if the condition of the property warrants it for us to take it.
Because it's
avoids
right
the
smack in the
expense.
middle of two of our properties to begin with, or two of the township's properties, I should
Yes,
say.
and it also avoids the expense, obviously, of a tax lien foreclosure.
Motion to approve?
Second.
What we're doing is we're directing Paul and myself in the clerk's office to get the inspection accomplished and title search, and then we'll come back to you.
I'll amend my motion to such.
I think a minimal inspection, right?
What's that?
Minimal inspection, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with this location.
Yeah.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, Greater Tuckahoe Area Merchants Association request to hold a raffle. Raffle number 504 on November 17, 2018 at the Upper Township Community Center.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 12, Upper Township PTO request to hold raffle. Raffles, raffle number 505, 506, and 507, and a bingo, BA number 508 on January 12, 2019 at the Upper Township Middle School.
Move to allow.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 13, Upper Township Rescue Squad request to hold a raffle, number 509, on December 13, 2018, at 507 Route 9 in Marmora.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 14, under unfinished business, Cape May County request for a letter of support from Upper Township for the restriping of Commonwealth Avenue.
Okay, well, we're fortunate to have the new county engineer with us this evening. We had some discussion with this earlier, and one of the concerns that we had was the parking that was going to be taken away with the restriping. And subsequent to that, we have, and you have it all in front of you, we've been given a proposal on the addition of potentially 220 parking spaces that will be put together on the sea aisle side to help offset the parking challenges that will be taken away with the restriping. So if you could, can you give us a little explanation as to, what will transpire and what has to take place for the parking to become a reality? Can you just give your name for the audience too? And we have some newspapers.
The plan in front of you is a preliminary conceptual plan that's put together, basically as it shows.
You might want to turn that way, that's a photographer.
Yeah, we all have copies of it right here.
Basically, it's 220 spaces as proposed. It does not include the paint chip testing area. That's under currently their lease with Seattle City. So the objective is when that lease runs out, that this whole parking lot would be one continuous parking lot. So you got 2 points of egress at each side. This is basically a stopgap measure until that lease is done, but we're committed to start the engineering design on this. Our office will be doing the engineering on it, permit acquisition, bid documents, and eventual bidding of it. The schedule, we're hoping to have this underway in the spring. It would be dependent upon what permits are required, if any. We try to minimize the stormwater permit by keeping the impervious coverage down to less than a quarter of an acre, so that will eliminate that permit. But there might be a wetlands buffer permit that might be required. So we're in the process of getting consultants through those permits, but our plan is to be in a position to have this thing underway this spring if possible.
What does this do for us from Whale Beach down? There won't be parking there?
Well, there's going to be parking on one side of the road, and then the other side of the road, and the lanes will be moved over and address some of the safety concerns that have been brought up. But I think this is a good adjunct to the plans that we've seen. I mean, I don't know that anybody was opposed to the plans by any means. It was just a matter of that when you take away 200 parking spots, it obviously is going to cause congestion somewhere else. And the fact that, for whatever reason, and I've talked to a number of the freeholders, they had assumed that we had seen some of the parking suggestions or what the diagram that we have here, and that wasn't within what we had received earlier, and that was part of the, I guess, I don't want to say misinformation, but at least we got to the point where we wanted to get to and talk about parking.
Right. Yeah, when I took over, I was involved in this, and I know we had a public information meeting in April, and there was a selected preferred alternative at the time, and then it was a preferred, there was nothing sort of progressing on it. Based upon the outcome of that preferred alternative, there was a slight modification to that striping plan, which is reflected in the plans that you have now. And that was why I initiated sending the plans to you people also to sales cities. I want to make sure that everybody's on board with this. So, I mean, I apologize if the parking wasn't addressed, but I think in the end we achieved it.
No, listen, I think where we are now compared to a month ago when we had the initial discussion is light years away. I mean, it's an entirely different discussion.
And the potential's there for probably close to another 50 parking spaces if the paint chip place goes.
Yeah, and I know there's actually, it's a two-part thing. There's the parking, but there's also an open space element of amenities they want to put in here. I think they want to put a couple benches. You're talking about putting like a wash station in. So it's, that would be funded on the open space application separate from this, but that's the long-term plan is to really have a nice parking facility. It's not just a parking lot. Initially, it probably will just be the parking lot, but eventually when the paint chip place goes away, we can make it a larger facility, then we can put those other amenities in there.
One of the things you said is you were going to try to get this done by the springtime. So you will not start the line striping until this is complete, is that correct?
Well, we're going to have other discussions with CLC Upper Township, so I mean, if that's a condition, then we would have to see what we're going to do there. I mean, we had wanted originally to strike this in the fall, obviously we're not going to, or going out to do it in the spring. If the parking is an area of detention and we're not ready, then we'll have to have a discussion if we don't put the striking off for another season. I mean, we would prefer not to.
Yeah, and I think, listen, I think everybody wants to address, public safety and do what we can to make that road safer. But I do think adding the parking is part of the package, because what concerned me from the first time we looked at this was if you take away 200 spots, I can just, envision people creating havoc and trying to park all over the place.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if they striped, let's say, hypothetical in April when the weather's nice, and they had this open for Memorial Day. I think that could go hand in hand. I mean,
yeah, I mean, the whole thing's going to be dictated by the permits. If the permits are not an issue, then we would be in a position to get this thing done in the spring.
what are you doing with the extra sand?
We haven't really seen it all the way. I mean,
Well, I think we can always use a good spot for it.
it's not our sand action sales. But yeah, I mean, those are things we're going to discuss. I mean, the freeholders want to reach out to you guys. There has to be issues.
So what do you need from us? I mean, are we still looking for some sort of resolution and support in theory of what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's basically what we're looking at. We just, the whole purpose of it was to make sure that there weren't any fatal flaws or objections with this, so we didn't just go out and strike through and you guys come back and say, well,
I think parking was our issue. I think parking was the issue.
Is a letter sufficient?
oh, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, basically.
You can do it tonight, just direct the clerk to prepare a letter for the mayor's signature.
I'll make that in the form of a motion. We direct the clerk to submit a letter to, we're in favor of it with the addition of the parking and going hand in hand with the striping.
Do we want to say with the addition of the parking, or do we want to say contingent on the parking?
Well, as long as the parking is done by Memorial Day, I think, yeah.
No, I think it's a total plan, John.
Total plan. I think Memorial Day is a doable day, right?
Well, if they get the permits.
Well, you got Mother Nature too, so I mean, it's...
So I assume that that's going to be more priority thing to do the permitting, find out where we are. so that if there's any updates that come, in the next month or two, if you'd let us know, that'd be great. But
Absolutely. As soon as we find out about the disposition of the permit, she wants to see it.
But I do want to thank you and thank the freeholders, because I had an opportunity to talk to several of the freeholders, in fact 4 of them, about this issue, and all of them, felt that parking was definitely something that needed to be added. So I'm very happy with what I'm seeing in front of me. So
And I'll second the motion.
let's call the roll,
Moore?
please.
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion's carried. 15, Joseph Dickinson and Abigail Jamison request to vacate a portion of Mistletoe Avenue adjacent to Block 499, Lot 1 through 10.
So we've received a letter opposed to this.
We've actually received 2.
And in the
On the
past,
first.
as I recall, our precedent is if we receive a letter in opposition of a neighbor that borders this, that we don't move forward with it. So, I wouldn't want to see us go off of that plan, if that's...
We do have both of the parties here,
Okay.
so I don't know if you want to open it up and ask them to comment, but is the situation still the same? You still opposed to it?
Yes, I'm still opposed to.
Wait a second, we need your name and your address, if you would, please.
Raise,
We need you at the podium so they can tape you. It's being taped, so can you just go to the podium?
Oh, I'm sorry.
The microphone needs to pick you up.
My name is Diane Leo. I live at 341 Essex Avenue, and I'm opposed to vacating Mistletoe Avenue for the reasons that I stated in the letter.
And your property adjoins it?
It does. We're 341 Essex, adjoining Mistletoe.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And the applicant?
I'm Joe Dickinson. I live at 320 Essex Avenue. And do you want me to elaborate on what we're looking to do here? Or is it just I feel like I'm in court. This is kind of stressful.
No, you're not in court.
But anyways, I'll just explain then. And Barbara, you know the situation because we've been becoming best friends the last few weeks talking about this. So long story short, I should have brought a bigger printout for you. But anyways, can you guys see this kinda?
No.
All right. Can I walk up there? Is that all right? Just so you guys can get
You can see it, because I sure can't see it.
Is that all right if I walk up?
Yeah, sure.
They do have
They have
drawings of tax map and color-coded tax map.
It's in our
You can
packet,
see,
yeah.
they have the color-coded tax map so you can see what we're doing.
So long story short, I have a side yard from the end of my house to where Mistletoe starts. I have 81.6 feet, the survey says. What I want to do is build a 2-car detached garage that's 30 foot in length in that 81.6 feet. However, because that Mistletoe Ave is there, I need to have a setback, I think is of 50 feet from it. So it pushes me 50 feet into my 81.6, so I'm left with 31.6. Then I have to be, 15 feet from the house? So 65 feet of my property is essentially just taken up because of mostly that paper street there. So I can't put a 30-foot structure in 81.6 feet of property, which is why the first recommendation that Barbara made was see if we can put in a motion to vacate the street. However, with that happening, my neighbor, who at the end of the day, I'm going to preserve the relationship here if we can't do it. All of a sudden, that property, she'll pick up 25, I'll pick up 25, which the garage won't even be near. I'm not looking to vacate the street to gain the property. I just want to get rid of that 50-foot setback so I can put the structure there. But she'll pick up liability of 25 feet of property, which isn't super comforting for her. So that's the concern there. So my frustration is within the 81.6 feet, I can't put a 30-foot structure within it. And so I don't know if a variance, I don't even believe.
Was this a zoning board request?
It actually started with a discussion with Shelley when he came in to get a zoning permit, and it was suggested to try to vacate the street so that way he didn't have to make an application to the zoning board for essentially putting that accessory structure in the front yard.
Is there any way we can sell the street end to Mr. Dixon?
It's a right-of-way. You vacate it. They already own halfway through. You have a right-of-way over it.
Okay, if we vacate it, can he purchase her half?
He could purchase her house, it would require a subdivision. He could also give her an easement over the other half where he takes on all obligation and insures her section of it.
Can it be
You go to a lawyer, they
Is that the
create an
main- is
easement
that the
that would
main issue?
satisfy your neighbor, that you would then control it, insure it, be responsible for it, the 25 feet she doesn't want.
And
That's up to her. She'd have to agree.
there'll be some minimal tax implementations.
Yeah.
An easement that gives virtually all use to, would have minimal, if any, tax
And
consequences.
then the other issue is the setback an issue too?
I talked to someone about it. It can't be in the front yard, you're saying, right?
But from reading your letter, you're worried about the structure being closer to your house, correct? Your property?
No, I just wanted the woods between our property and this property.
Yeah.
So if it was
Which, yeah.
restricted to that 25 feet would remain wooded?
So he wouldn't even need to build in the,
Is that
he
something?
doesn't even need to build in the.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go near
He
it.
needs the land, he needs
setback.
because he has a corner lot.
He needs the land to increase his setback.
Correct.
Well, or lower setback.
Well, to change it from a 50-foot front yard setback to a, because his lot is undersized.
Side yard.
He's looking at like a 20-yard.
20 yard, yeah.
You know, 20 to 15 yard side yard setback
Foot.
as opposed to, yeah, so it's a big difference.
Well, I thought somewhere in our military business, we were looking at designating one front yard and making the other side.
You can't do it designated,
But
what
he tells
we
you
have
what
allowed is you can put an accessory structure in the, you know, I'll say in a front yard area, but it's gotta still meet the front yard setback, so that's where this still has
I
a problem.
thought we were looking at a change on that, though.
You can't.
Well, the other
you
thing
can't
is,
do that change.
the other thing is still another part of this concern was that there were some noise issues with working on cars there. I mean, is this a commercial venture?
No, it won't be. And when I first moved in about a year ago, all the work, my little side hustle is restoring old cars, which I don't do any of the work that I do on my property is for my personal vehicles. I have 2 older cars. However, any of the work now, I have a shop in Port Norris that all the work goes to. So the noise complaints came from those cars, which I'm no longer working on the noisy and broken ones in my garage or in my driveway anymore. So those shouldn't be an issue anymore. And then it will not be a commercial. Anything that's being done for profit, as far as getting a car, fixing it, and reselling it, will be done on a commercial lot. That's nowhere near where I am.
Well, what if he was to attach his garage to the house? Doesn't make any changes for him?
Oh, if he attaches it to the house, he doesn't have a setback issue.
So even with a breezeway, make a permanent attachment, he would be fine.
I mean, he still might need, because he's got 81 feet, he only has 30 feet to attach it to the side of his house.
Is it an undersized lot where it would meet the adjacent property setbacks?
Yeah, but it's in the front yard. Doesn't matter, because there are no adjacent properties.
He's got 3 front yards, so
So it does, he can't, that's why Shelley and I looked at this, that is why.
But I guess what I said, if he attaches it via a breezeway, then it's part of the permanent structure, not
But then he's
necessarily.
gonna be in the front yard setback. He's still gonna need a front yard setback variance.
But it would minimize it. It wouldn't be an accessory use in the front yard.
At that point, it's probably 6, 1/2 dozen the other.
it's because he's got front yards. It's not a side yard setback. It's like trying to do an addition in a front
He's got
yard.
an accessory use in the front yard. If he attaches, it's not an
He's still gonna need a
accessory.
variance, whether, I think the zoning board's gonna look at it. It's a technical variance, whether it's an accessory structure in that front yard as a detached structure or a side yard setback for a detached structure, I think.
If he doesn't get the land, he would go in for a variance and prove hardship. He's got no available land.
It makes his case for him.
Well, he'd have to make his proofs to the zoning board, but that's one of the avenues of proof.
Yeah,
And this is one of
as
the
an
avenues
accessory
for
use
use.
doesn't require a use variance to be in the front yard.
That doesn't require use variance.
No.
Traditionally, we have never vacated something with somebody opposed.
And that was the original discussion, so
If you and your neighbor could work a relationship out where if it was vacated, you were to purchase it from her and everybody would be happy, then we could readdress it.
I mean, and that would probably include the buffer and taking over the liability and those kind of things, but, you know, maybe we can give you a list, Dan, what you had just
Well,
suggested.
they need to work it out between the two of them
Right.
if they're trying to
Yes.
get agreement.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to vote for something
They're not gonna
that
pick a
we
winner.
haven't done in the past. If you can get together and there's a comfort level with your neighbor, that would be something that I think I could certainly move forward with. But at this time, you need to work it out because I've not personally voted for anything like this when there's an opposition on the neighbor on the other side.
I think the best thing we could do is probably keep it under unfinished business and suggest the two of you go out and have a drink or a cup of coffee or something.
So just so I know what to talk about with her, obviously. So it's really the only solution: vacate the lot, I buy the land, and then I work out an agreement with her. Is that the only solution to?
Well, you have to satisfy her so she doesn't have objections upon.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
But, and if you don't satisfy her, you can go to the zoning board and ask for a variance for your setbacks.
All right. Yeah. So would it make sense to just start with that though?
It's up to you.
Okay. Gotcha. No. Yeah. Okay. All right.
If he does not get approval for the variance, what then happens?
He can appeal it.
Well, it's kind of the cart before the horse. We don't have any authority over the zoning board. That they operate on a quasi-governmental separate entity where they make decisions, and so. What normally might happen is if you had gone to the zoning board and requested this, the zoning board might have suggested because there's a street there that hasn't been paved or anything, go to the township to see that he would be doing what he's doing now, probably. But the zoning board will at least know that at this point, the township committee we haven't taken any formal vote, but it doesn't appear that the committee is willing to move forward with the request. So at least the zoning board will know that avenue is probably already exhausted.
Gotcha. Okay.
And did I hear a reference to another objection? Is it?
You said there's two objections?
Yeah, they said there were two objections.
No.
She wrote two letters.
Yeah, that's
Okay, got it. Understood. Thank you.
yeah. Gotcha. So if you're able to put some comfort level and both of you agree and we have something in writing or you both show up at the next meeting, then we may be able to move forward with it. So we'll see what happens. Okay.
Thank you.
And the good news is you said you want to be a good neighbor with your neighbors.
We're gonna table?
Please continue with that.
For the purpose of the agenda and the record, could you make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion
and
we
not
table.
act on it at this time.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Right. Does someone want to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So there are a number of reports from the municipal departments: animal control, EMS report, municipal court, MUA report, tax collector, certification of mailing added assessment and omitted added assessment taxes for 2018 final, 2019 preliminary tax bills. All these reports will be available upon request at the clerk's office tomorrow, but in the meantime, I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So at this time, we've reached the public comment portion of the meeting. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so. Please go to the podium, state your name and your reasoning for addressing the Township Committee.
Hi, Linda Bateman, 14 East Tecumseh, Strathmere. I had a question about the playground. Last week, yellow tape was up, and it was kind of I don't want to call it a sinkhole, I didn't know what it was, and wondering, I know there was a question about the pipe that was addressed, but I'm not sure where we are on what happened.
There is a sinkhole there where the contractor that did the work on the bulkhead has to make some additional corrective work on the seal between where the pipe leaves the bulkhead. We believe that's where the the sinkhole is originating from, so we're trying to get him out there as quick as possible to complete that repair.
And in the meantime, you're comfortable with just having a yellow tape under the swing set? Shouldn't the whole thing be closed off? What danger is this? There's a big spray painted hole that I think just draws curiosity. I walked up to see what it was. Are we, out of an abundance of caution, should this be roped off?
Some large fence across there or something entirely.
We could, yeah.
Yeah, we'll barricade it all for you.
But this has been since last Wednesday or Thursday, so I'm
Well, the contractor's been contacted, and then we're moving forward. Our goal was to correct it quickly.
Right.
There's no fear of the hole opening anymore, and that hole that I believe you're talking about was actually created by our Public Works.
There's an outer ring spray painted and then an inner ring.
Correct. That was just the land had dropped slightly, and the hole, the smaller hole, again, that was created by Public Works, trying to identify further whether there was a collapse of the storm drain pipe, which we determined that is not the case.
So my question is, this is not a dangerous thing?
No.
Okay.
But as a precautionary item, we did remove the swings from that particular section of apparatus, just so that there's no issue at all.
Okay. And I guess my other point is that we're creatures of habit in Strathmere. We walk to the post office. We take the same route. We ride our bikes. People start noticing the tape. What's going on in the playground? What's going on? You know, a text or an email or a phone call to somebody that says, hey, can you get the word out? There's no danger. I looked at that and thought, I wouldn't want my child on that playground. Why isn't the whole thing roped off? We don't know what's happening. And I could have put it on our 1,300 people following Facebook page, and we would know that. When something happens in town and we don't know about it, we spend more time trying to figure out who should we be talking to about that. It would be nice if we could be in the loop.
Feel free to contact my office, and I think you and I
did.
were in contact.
I did, but
what happened. And we were of the understanding that the particular contractor was going to come out a little bit earlier than we've actually run into. So it has prolonged it slightly, but I have every confidence that he should be out before the end of this week.
Scott, it almost sounds like that was one of the things that you were going to add to the Public Works schedule anyway, because you did mention when you were talking about leaf and brush collection projects, so you could always, post something like that there.
Absolutely.
And that's a great place, and everybody has access to it.
okay. And to be clear, we do or don't think the whole playground should be roped off.
We are going to rope it off for the time being, do we need to do the whole thing, or just in front of the playground? No, I think just the area in front of where the swings are.
Correct.
Yeah. We'll just do like half of one.
I'm sorry.
We'll do the half in front of the playground, in front of the swings to the bulkhead. But the apparatus itself, the jungle gym and all, will still be available to be used.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully the vendor will get here this week and it'll be resolved.
Okay, thanks.
Hopefully.
Well, I'm not a sinkhole expert, but I do know about those Corvettes that fell through the ground at the Corvette Museum in a sinkhole. So when you say sinkhole, that's a little scary. And to think that just a piece of tape is all that we need is a little... I wouldn't let my grandchild play there out of caution. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Seems as if we've finished with the public comment, so I'll close the public comment portion and entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are personnel, contract negotiation for shared services agreement with Ocean City for our 911 dispatch services, also with Tryon, Marsh, and McLennan Agency, LLC. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there's no longer a reason for confidentiality.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young? Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you all for attending this evening. Please drive safely home. Have an enjoyable week.